Hey, I'm Dave, and welcome to another episode of Dying to Listen podcast. Today we have Lander from the Protagonist Dyes. If you have not checked out his work, as usual, please just pause this podcast and take a look. He's got some amazing and fantastic work. So we'll jump right into it here. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. Greatly appreciated. Obviously, you're here because you're a dyer, but do you disc golf?
I love to disc golf. It's like my favorite hobby at this point. I've been doing it for like, I think 5 years. I'm really bad at it. I never nothing's clicked necessarily. Like, I guess it's unfair to myself. Like, I'm a little bit self-deprecating in most aspects of my life, but like, I'm better than like a guy that just goes out and like I'm going to play disc golf, but I'm not good.
What got you into disc golf?
Man, I don't even like really know what the catalyst was that like propelled me into the disc golf world. I just know that like I saw like Ellison driving by, and I knew like Millennium had discs. I'm sorry, I'm speaking like where I live and like what my local landmarks are.
Okay, I was going to say, so where do you live?
I live in upstate New York in Rochester, in the greater Rochester area in the suburbs. Ellison is like an extremely old disc golf course in America, and by that I mean like it was made in like the 70s. But it's like, I think, and don't quote me here, we could like, these things are all Googleable. But it was like one of the very first like national or even maybe international tournaments was held at Ellison Disc Golf Park in Rochester. So it's got some history. It's a cool park, but it's just like on the corner of that you drive past it just going down the road sometimes and see the baskets. And so I had a knowledge basically of like what it was. I saw people doing it and just decided like, that looks fun. I'll give it a try. Picked up like the 3-disc Innova starter set that everybody had 5 years ago. And man, the rest is a wrap. I was hooked fast, and I got like one friend to join, and then now all my friends disc golf.
Nice. I was going to say, do you have any other friends that you play with?
Almost all of them, except for like my one buddy Arnie, who refuses to try because he's just that dude. He's like, I'm not going to do it. But it's he sucks. Yeah, don't watch this podcast. Almost all of them, and then like through disc golf, I have like a subset of homeboys that like I hang with that I just met through the sport and like really love. So disc golf has opened up some doors for me that way socially.
What does disc golf mean to you?
It's just like escape, it's something I can get out and do and not be like, especially as like most people are these days, screen addicted. So like to be able to put that away and only like pull out UDisc in between holes. I still pull out my phone every 3 minutes on the course, but it's mostly just to check my double bogeys. It's escape. It's a way to like kind of get off the grid, shut down, get outside in nature and like reconnect with Mother Earth and all that, all that spiritual stuff that people need and get from places that I don't. So
do you play during the winter?
Yeah. So upstate New York, our winters are really bad. Buffalo is obviously known for like crazy winters, and we're like the next city down. I played a tournament a couple years back in a place that the walk from the parking lot to hole 1 is like a 1/4 mile stretch, and it was 1.5 feet of snow, and everybody, there's just a line of 100 people like death marching to their, it was a shotgun start to various holes, and I was on like hole 15, and so we're walking out there, and it was right after like Texas got real cold and people like migrating to Mexico, and I was like, dude, this is just like it was we were migrating, and it's all winter long, man. Put a ribbon on a disc, you can't let it stop you because our winters are long.
We're kind of in the same zone for that. So yeah, never stop playing. Winter doesn't, I have a cart and I got some skis for my cart. So good to go.
Yeah, my first, like what I consider real ace was in like 1.5 feet of snow. Oh, nice. And I torqued my knee and fell on the tee pad too. And was surprised to hear the chains when I hit. It was from the red tees, but
So what got you into disc dyeing?
One of my buddies, aforementioned, that I started playing with, he decided he was going to try it. And I was like, oh, that sounds like kind of cool. And he did like 2 shaving cream dyes and was like, oh, these are cool. He might have did a couple more here and there. And I started and I was like, okay, this is neat. And I wanted to see like where I could take it, I guess. And taking it somewhere at that point was like really rudimentary type stuff. I forget like how it first happened. If I had like put it out on Facebook or someone was like, will you make me one? And I was like, oh, like, yeah, sure. I guess so. And so that's where it took off from. Though I still have pictures of those discs. They weren't great, but
I don't think anybody's first discs typically are. What year did you start dyeing?
It's been like a year and a half or 2 years. Like so full disclosure, 2 things that I cannot do are place events on a timeline or know geographical locations or direction. Those are my absolute, like, I cannot do it. So when you say, when did you do it? I don't know. Like a year or 2 ago, I think I started.
Yeah, I feel like you're the COVID disc dyer boomer generation.
100%. Like I am really lucky to even like have the I don't know if you can call it a following, like to be where I am in the disc dyeing community, because I just got it on like the cutting edge of right before it really, really blew up. So it was timing. When was that? You could tell me when I started dyeing discs.
I definitely the COVID 2020, 2021-ish.
Yeah, so it was right then. And there are guys that started way after me. They're way better than me at this point, but they just don't have the following because they haven't been in as long. So they're going to push me out of the game eventually. I'm sure of it.
You got some good work, so don't self-deprecate yourself too much.
I try not to. But I know that like, so it's, people that I show and that I know and don't know like the disc dyeing community are like, oh, those are amazing. You're the best. How do you do that? And then like I see the like good disc dyers do stuff and I'm like, you don't even know the half.
Well, as long as the people you show are impressed and happy.
Sure.
There you go.
And my mom thinks it's like very cool. She didn't know. Like I didn't tell people I was doing a podcast. I texted her today. She's got one of my kids at rehearsal, and I was like, "Mom, when you come in, quiet, because I'm going to be on a podcast." And she there was a lot of exclamation points on the text she sent back.
Well, that's moms. So, do you remember the first disc that you dyed? I know you kind of mentioned it, but do you have any more details on that?
I really don't. I know like some of my very first ones. I can't call the very first. One of the first ones I remember doing was on a Hades, and it was the first time I tried to do anything with a stencil. And I don't even remember what the design was. It might have been like the Apex Legends, something silly, and I just cut it freehand and slapped it on the disc, and then put that in a shaving cream dye. And then when it came out, the shaving cream dye wasn't real saturated, so the silhouette of the thing was kind of fuzzy and you didn't know what it really was. And at the time, I didn't know, like, it left this residue on my disc that wherever that disc is now, I'm sure still has it on there. It's just from the vinyl, but I had no idea what it was. I thought it like ate up the plastic or something. So I didn't know that you could use like a solvent and take that off real easy. So it was always sticky and weird, and I just thought that was the way it was, not that it like just had shit on it.
Well, now you know. Where did you learn about disc dyeing, like different techniques and other things that you've learned along the way?
The first like YouTube tutorial video I watched was Brian Eckert's like Pipe Dreamer 72 glue bed tutorial. Shout out to Brian. He just crushed me in a tournament recently. That guy makes killer discs. He's like one of those guys I talk about when I'm like, when you see like what a really good dyer can do, It was him that like really kicked off like the start of me turning a corner to being able to make stuff that looked pretty good. So props to Brian, because that tutorial was lit.
I believe I'm going to have him on at some point as well. So
awesome. I'll be sure to watch that. After I watch all the other ones.
Do you have a favorite type of plastic that you like to dye and or brand?
I don't really have one that I really love over the others, like Castoplast. Their plastic feels so just nice and soft, and so I like that just because I like the plastic in general. It takes dye really, really well too, the K1 Soft. So I guess if I had to choose one, I'd say maybe that. ESP takes dye like really well. Those are really fun discs to dye. Discraft ESP. I'm a basic bitch when it comes to like what kind of plastic I want to dye. Pumpkin spice.
Whatever takes dye, really.
Yeah, really.
Do you typically keep the stamp or wipe the stamp?
I used to be a keep the stamp guy, totally, because I never worked with stencils. I bought the Silhouette 4 that I have for stencil cutting probably 9 months before I ever turned it on, because I bought it and then was too intimidated to learn how to use it, because I've never done anything like that before. My like Photoshop digital art skills are basically zero, so I was really intimidated by it. So I was always a keep the stamp guy, and now I would say 50-50. It depends on the stamp. If it's like a super cool stamp, I'm obviously not going to wipe it. If it's like an ESP base disc with like the annex in the square, you know, I'll probably wipe it and put a stencil on it. But not those can be like made to look really cool too. So it just depends what I'm feeling.
What made you do stencils?
Just knowing that like it was a possibility and seeing like the things that could be done made me get the Silhouette. What made me use it was somebody contacted me via Instagram through my page and was like, "Can you make my husband best man discs for his wedding? I want to surprise him with them." And I was like, "That's so cool. I would love to do that." I didn't tell her that I had no idea how to do that. But I was like, yes, I would love to be a part of that. That sounds amazing. It is right up my alley. And then I got to work and started like texting immediately all my more computer digital art savvy friends, like, "Hey, like, is there any way you can like point me in the right direction here?" A buddy of mine was like, "Oh, this program is called Canva, and this is Photopea on the, you know, it's like a free Photoshop kind of thing on the web that you can use." So it's like, "Sweet, will you do it for me?" And he did, and he made me like the basically the whole stencil that I had to then go to Photopea. He told me how to like cut it out on a transparent background, all that. And that was like, oh, I can use this machine. Like I kind of know, and I've learned some things since then, but it's all self-taught and just like messing around.
That is extremely awesome that you had no idea how to do any of this stuff and you dived headfirst in and you produced some good results. So congrats on that.
Yeah, thanks, man. They were really stoked. Looking back on it, not my best work, obviously, but people liked it and it was sentimental. And like, being able to like implant myself into other people's lives is like, that sounds kind of creepy and weird, but is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. Like just being able to like in a small way be a part of something bigger. That's what it's about for me.
So you're completely new to the stencil game. So is there any words of advice that you give to beginners with the knowledge that you know now?
Like, I don't know anything, so it's hard to give advice. My advice is just do it. Like, give it a shot. If you have no idea what you're doing, tinker around, click buttons, Google stuff, go to YouTube, and just do it, man. Give it a shot.
Well, I'm going to ask some specific questions on stencils. What vinyl do you use?
I use when I type into Amazon in the search bar, I type Oracle 651, and then Amazon sends me probably, I don't know, maybe it's the real stuff. Sometimes I'm not so sure. It's like sometimes it's matte. I just figured out that there's a difference between matte and the opposite of matte vinyl, because the stuff I got now is not. Yeah, sure. The stuff I have now is glossy, and I've never had it before, so that was a little different to work with. I wasn't sure if it was even like legit. So this is like hot. This is very. I'm being exposed right now.
That is fine. That is perfectly fine. Do you buy like the pre-cut sheets or do you get it on the roll?
I buy the pre-cut sheets because it's easy. Yeah. And at this point, I've kind of like come to terms with like, I'm not going to make a whole lot of money doing this. So if it's easier, I'm not trying to like cut every corner to pinch pennies. Mm-hmm. Like I want to make it easier and I want it to be fun. And when I have to start pulling out rolls and cutting stuff and all that, it gets less fun for me. So I'll spend the cash and take the hit and keep it fun.
Yeah, I buy the sheets as well. It's just maybe a few cents more for the convenience, and they're flat. Like if you try to cut it off the roll, it's kind of hard to manhandle and put on the thingamabobber. What transfer tape / paper do you use?
I have no idea. It's the same. It's the same 12 by 12 sheets. I get them on Amazon. They're probably different every time I get them. I've got no brand loyalty there. I've never had ones that like I felt didn't work. I assume there are some that don't work real well, but I type in transfer tape on Amazon and take whatever's on sale at the time. Yeah. What's the cheapest one I can get the most of because I need them now.
There you go. What dye method do you use for your stencils?
It depends. Like if I'm doing a bunch of them, like I just had like 5 of the same stencil that I wanted to like mass produce a handful of discs of. I'm gonna hot dip them because it's just easier that way. I don't have like a big setup. I've got one heat lamp. So if I'm doing like a single stamp, depending on like how big it is or how intricate, I like to do like just a lotion paint in like a squeeze bottle and put that under heat for a little while because it's fast. I don't have to like, I've torched my fair share of discs in both like under a heat lamp and in a dye bed. This is all trial by fire, man. So the heat lamp, I feel like I can like walk away from it for a little more and not have to worry about it, and not like I have no like I just put a pan on the stove and get it till I think it's hot enough. You know, there is no science. This is all art for me. I'm not measuring stuff. I'm not taking temperatures.
I like you. You're very loosey goosey and fly by the seat of your pants and see what happens.
That's my philosophy, man. I'm trying to have fun. I don't want to be. I'm no scientist. I don't like instruments. I don't want to do all that stuff. I want to like eyeball things. I'm what's it like? I can't bake because everything has to be like measured out. But I like to cook. Cooking is an art. Baking's a science, right?
That is exactly true. I hate baking, but I like cooking.
Perfect.
But I've luckily, knock on wood, haven't cooked any discs yet, and I feel like I use a lot of heat. So.
Oh man, I've melted discs. I went out in the first time I did a one of those glow Axiom Insanities from like last Halloween, which I really liked, and I saw like Jory did one that was super cool, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill this disc. And the bed was awesome. I was so happy with it, and then I put it under heat and like came downstairs, and it was like. it was wavy, man. I ruined that disc. I threw it in the garbage without saying anything to anyone I was in.
Just, shove it off to the side.
Yeah, what's that smoking pile here?
I've never dyed Eclipse plastic, but I know that Bill from Gingivitis, he cooked one too. That was Eclipse plastic. I wonder if they cook worse than other plastics.
It's possible. That's another thing I have no idea about. Like that's too sciencey. I can't be bothered.
What dye do you use to dye your discs?
The majority of what I have is Prochem. I started off with iDye because you could get it on Amazon. I don't even know. Like Prochem might have been available. It was like before they even started with like their disc golf section. I just through scouring Reddit and various like websites found out about Prochem. And started using them and love them. But I still have some iDye that I use as well.
What color do you use for your stencils?
I use just Dark Dungeon usually. And now I will maybe try something else because I see people like Jillian that's like, oh, I have Dark Dungeon and I mix it with Onyx and I add a touch of brown and like a little bit of red to like counteract the blue or something. I'm like, what? It's already black. Apparently it's not.
If you haven't tried iDye Poly Black, I think that's the best black for hot dipping, or just black, really.
I have a batch of hot dip that I've been using forever. And no, I think it's Dark Dungeon because I do have a packet of iDye Black sitting in a drawer. If I could show you my janky ass dye lab that's like next door to me right now.
Where is your dye lab?
It's like 6 feet away from me. It's in my basement. That's where I am now. I got family wandering about, so I had to go into like this is what we dubbed the rave cave. It doesn't look like it right now, but we've got a fog machine and like disco lights and the laptop right now is set up right above. Okay, I'll do this. Right above my wife's like CDJs. There's
Nice.
I got the turntables right in front of me. The speakers on either side. That was probably really bad for the podcast. I'm sorry. But this is the rave cave. So right next to the rave cave is the dye lab, and that's where I make my magic.
Do you have a spot to rinse off your discs down there?
No, I go upstairs with the bed, or I take the disc out and throw it into like a ultimate disc and run up the stairs with it. It's janky, man. I'm telling you.
Have you had any
I feel like
accidents yet?
No, thank God. I haven't like spilled a bottle of dye. I haven't dropped stuff all over the place. My countertops are like granite or marble or something, and they don't absorb shit real easy, and they wipe off because I've gotten stuff on the countertops. The first time it happened, I was like, oh, no. Yeah. And it wiped up, and I was like, yes, my wife doesn't have to know.
Well, now she does if she listens to this.
Oh, shit. Damn it. You can edit that part out, right?
Sure.
I've a lot of my clothes and also my hands are like stained permanently, but that's fine. I'm cool with it.
What dye methods have you all tried?
I think all of them. Maybe I've done lotions. I've done clear glue, all sorts of Floetrol things. Cells, stencils, hot dips. I've tried them all. I think there's probably more like hand painting, all like sponging a little bit. It was a cotton ball, but like I feel like it counts. So like basically all of them. I only really stick to a handful that I like. I don't do a whole lot of lotion besides lotion paint. But I think I've dabbled in just about everything just to try it.
What's your favorite method?
It was definitely clear glue beds. That was like what I did. Messing with Floetrol is so much fun. I'm not like as good at it as I am with clear glue. Clear glue seems to be like a little bit easier. It's not as finicky. The heat's not as important. You can just leave it for 24 hours. You get a good saturation. But Floetrol is just so much fun to play with that I'd have to say like that's my favorite to do, but it's not the one I'm best at by any means.
So if someone saw a dye disc by you, what do you think you have a signature technique? And if so, what is it?
I really don't. Like I said, I dabble in so much. I don't know that like maybe somebody like I can see dyers that are like pretty big in the community and pick their discs out generally. Like I feel like a lot of people like you can kind of tell, So there might be things about me that other people could be like, oh yeah, I know, but I don't feel like I have a style. I do. If I had to pick like one thing that I'm kind of known for, it's these bad boys. I did them last year. About this time, I posted a couple online, various colors and like all that stencil, but like little variations on it here and there. Like Facebook went nuts. They're controversial. The Christians are like you. I had a guy tell me if he saw it on the course, he'd shred it. And I know. And I got to respond with like, if I saw your disc on the course, regardless of what was on it, I would return it to you. And you can decide whose actions are more righteous. And that made me feel really pious and good about myself. But it's like so stupid. It's such like a simple little cool. I like the way it looks. I really think it's a cool disc, like a cool stencil. They just generate so much like controversy and buzz when I post them. So like I was like, I'm gonna make a couple more this year. It's been about a year. And I posted a couple online and immediately like the comments are coming. People are angry. People love it. Hail Satan. I'm like, it's not Satan, it's Baphomet technically. But they just, I think people, I've sold, so I made 5 of them and they're, besides this one that I held on to, they were gone like immediately, and now I've got to buy more discs. And they're on Castoplast goats because I think it's a funny little pun, like it's a goat. Yeah. So I always like put them on goats, and people love them. I sent one to Sweden yesterday. I sent one to a guy yesterday who then today sent me the shipping for the disc that I sent to Sweden because like we were DMing. And I mentioned like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be almost $30 to send the disc to Sweden. Kind of ate that one. And today he just sent me that, like after he'd already paid for the shipping and the disc, he sent me an extra $30 almost for shipping.
Oh, wow, that's
and
awesome.
I was like, bro, you didn't have to, like, why are you doing this? Like, thank you, but why? So that disc is like, I make discs that I love, like I think are really cool. And I can't, this like this. I've got like a little stash here under this drawer. But like I made this one. Nobody cares. I love it. I think it's cool and simple. It looks like a little tattoo, like flash art. I don't want it. Get the Christians angry and people are swarming. Like I can't get enough. I have a waiting list. I got to buy 10 more of those stupid things and make them.
That's crazy. Awesome, but crazy.
I know. It's
you
like
found your little niche there.
Really, it's the only reason I'm still dyeing this right now. I can afford to. Nice.
Have you had any weird or interesting commission requests?
Surprisingly, no. I really haven't. Like the most interesting ones I think were like I've done 2 sets for groomsmen at this point. I did do this guy to try to get Bert Kreischer's attention when he was in town, because I know he throws discs and stuff. It's on a Wraith. It's like his favorite disc. I messaged him on Instagram, never heard back, He hasn't heard of the Protagonist. I've got almost like 1,500 followers. I don't know why he wouldn't respond. But no dice. So Bert, if you're watching this, hit me up. Protagonist Dyes. My name's Lander.
Right. I will cut this clip out at mentioned you and put it on Instagram. Like, look at this.
Right. Yeah. Appreciate you, man. I'll bring you out on the course with him.
Do you have any must-have dye accessories?
I was thinking about this one too, man. Not besides like my 99-cent cake pans that I get from Walmart. My one janky heat lamp. I got a heat lamp bulb that's in like one of those Pixar lamps that the bulb is 4 times bigger than the little shade that tries to come over it, so it just sticks out the bottom. Like I'm telling you, I got the worst setup in the world, which should be encouraging to like people that are starting out. Like if this guy can make it happen with the ridiculous circumstances he's working on, certainly I can do it. But one thing I really like is I have to apply acetone mixes dyes to my like glue beds. I have basically tiny like little syringes that I found on Amazon. You suck them up and they're like a little metal, tiny little tip. So I like those for applying my acetone dyes to my bed.
Nice.
I should have brought one out to show you. I didn't.
Shame on you. Now no one will ever know, ever. So
that's mine. Those are mine, and you can't have them.
I also feel like everybody has a janky heat lamp set up. I don't think anybody has a proper one or a proper way to, for your stencils. How do you center your stencils? Because I asked that because that brought up the question. No one has a good proper way of, most people like hang lasers on some riggedy jig thing. So yeah, how do you center your stencils?
Yeah, so my stencil setup is a laser pointer, like the pen. It's like this long. Mm-hmm. A like Livestrong rubber bracelet that I can wrap around it to hold the button down. A pair of wireless earbuds that I hang that from. This is all honestly 100% true. and that dude, janky. I gotta change my dye name. Janky ass dyes. It hangs from a lamp that hangs over the island in my kitchen. I hang all that from that. I wait like 15 minutes for it to stop swaying. I go get a snack, and I come back and I center my disc perfectly every time.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works. I feel like we need to have a contest of the jankiest either heat lamp setup or laser pointer setup. Because
I could be a lock on both of those, honestly. Like I can't win a dye competition to save my life these days, but I could. Let's do that, please. I need a win. Awesome. I could use a W.
Do you keep an inventory of dye discs, or do you dye on demand type thing, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. So like I dye, and if somebody comes to me with a commission, I'm down to try just about anything. Usually it works out better than I like anticipate at first, which is nice. Gives you the confidence to keep going. And then like stuff, I do a lot of like, I'm just going to buy some stuff and dye things that I think are cool and hope that other people do and buy them. And apparently I got shit taste because that doesn't usually work out real well in my favor, which is weird because I think I have great taste, but it's the people that are wrong.
I completely agree with that. Where do you buy your discs that you dye?
Online a lot, or like my local shop, Millennium. If I need some like quick, I'll go there, but generally online. From Beach Ribs a lot, parplastics.com, shout out. Those guys have been good to me, so I use them a lot.
Do you have any fail stories or any fails that were memorable to you?
Do I ever? And actually, it's one of the reasons why I don't love having people send me discs to dye, because I've got like PTSD from the time a dude in like Florida sent a disc up for me to dye for him, and I scorched it. I put it under a heat lamp. Not only that, man, I really blew this thing. I got over eager with my clear glue bed and dropped it in before the acetone had evaporated, so I ruined the stamp. And then I applied heat for some reason. I'd never really used heat for glue beds before that, and I don't know what I was thinking. Like, word of advice, kids, don't try new stuff that you've never done before on somebody else's disc. Like, save that for your F2s and stuff. And I absolutely destroyed this man's disc, and I felt so bad. And I got in touch with him and like was super honest right off the gate, because that's my MO kind of. And was like, bro, I'm real sorry that you sent me this disc. I think I got him another one of like the same disc, did the dye, sent him a second disc, and I think refunded his money. Like I if anything, I want to have a good reputation, you know. Yeah. Even if I'm not the best dyer, I want people to like me and tell people like he's a good dude, and you know. So if I screw up your disc, I'm gonna make it up to you. I promise. Well, I ruined it.
Another one in the garbage.
Yeah, no, that one was. I felt bad too. That was a bad one.
What disc was it?
I don't remember exactly. I think it was a Discraft ESP. It might have been an Avenger SS, if I'm remembering correctly. But it was sorry, and it looked bad, and I sent it back to him too. I was like, here it is. I'm not gonna keep it. Moving on. No.
Moving on.
Talk about, hey, how do you fuck up a lot?
Never, not at all. Oh, okay. I am perfect because I learn from everybody else's mistakes. No,
that's smart.
That's a good point, to not experiment on customers' discs. Experiment on your own time, because I kind of had something similar happen where I was trying something new that I'd never done before, and it didn't come out exactly how I wanted it, and I'm like, God damn it, I should have did a test disc to know how that would have worked.
That sucks when that happens. This is good. Have you ever considered throwing it back to somebody and being interviewed with your own questions on your podcast?
See, I don't like this. I'm the host. You're the guest.
So let's talk about your feelings for a little while.
No, I'm the one asking the questions.
Okay, damn it.
Yes.
I should have came prepared.
At some point, I may be interviewed. So
cool.
There's that.
That's a good teaser.
Yes. Well, it's not really that great exciting now. I'm hyping it up more than what it is. Plus, people hear my shit all the time, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. I'm bored of you.
Yes. This is fun. Do you have any other tips or tricks you would like to impart your wisdom on your fellow dyers?
Yeah, like if nothing else, go controversial, man. Do something that's going to make a couple people mad, because that's where the dollars is. That's the only way I can make money, is by kicking the hornet's nest. So if it works for me, it might work for you.
All right. Well, don't do a dye of like killing babies or puppies.
No, I would steer clear of like babies, puppies. Hitler's probably off limits. Racial like stuff I would probably stay away from.
If you had to start disc dyeing today, is there anything that you would do differently knowing what you know now?
No, I wouldn't do it. To be honest, it's like for me personally, I really like it. Like I love doing it. I like that I'm doing it, but it's not like I'm not making any money doing it, which is tough because it takes up a lot of time. I like that, like locally people are like, oh, that's that guy that dyes discs and stuff. That's kind of cool. That feels good for me. But I don't think it's really worth my time and investment, like fiscally, necessarily. Here's what I would do. I wouldn't not do it. I wouldn't do it like commercially. I'd do stuff for me and a couple of my friends maybe. I don't think I'd try to like go big, or I'm not really trying to go big, but I don't think I'd like put it all out there like that. And that's a bad advice. I wouldn't say don't do that. Do that if that's what you want to do. Just for me personally, like I can't. It's not going to be a full-time job. It's not going to put food on my table. It has helped, I'll say. In the last week, there was a death in the family. My wife was off of work for a week, and I was out of work for a week, and selling these like 5 silly Baphomet discs, God bless them, has really helped a little bit with a cushion. That's like the only income I've had. So there's that. But otherwise, it's, I love it, but it gets me sometimes.
What, I guess, keeps you going? I know you mentioned a little bit, but what keeps you going dyeing these discs?
Like the fact that people actually come to me and say, like, will you make me this? Or I'm not turning people away. Like, I want to do it for you. I want to help you. I want to like keep it reasonable, although reasonable is getting harder and harder because like I can't believe people are still buying dyed discs, honestly, because like the way prices are inflating and things are getting more expensive, and like my raises stay pretty stagnant, and money gets tighter. Like I don't have money to buy people's dyed discs, so I get surprised that other people do. But if you come to me and want one, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try my darndest, because I'm a people pleaser. So that's really why I do it, to keep people happy at my own expense.
I feel like the dye disc marketplace is pretty saturated. A lot of people doing it, and it's hard to stand out, and it's really hard to make a living. And for the stuff that you do, like the stencils, that takes more time to do. If it was just like a bed, you can maybe pound those out pretty easy, but the stencils take more time, and if you're coloring it in, it takes more time, and the time that you put into dyeing the disc versus what the people pay for the dye portion, not the disc, is ridiculous, honestly.
I'll work, a handful of hours, 3-4, sporadically here and there, whenever I'm weeding, stenciling, getting the stencil together, finding a stencil that I like or that you want that works for me, because I can't work in Photoshop. I don't have the ability. I'm stealing like images and typing in like coloring pages to find like black and white line drawings from coloring books to do stencils of, janky. But stuff takes a lot of time, and then I make 10 or 15 bucks on a disc because I don't want to charge. Like I can't. I'm a terrible businessman. Like I don't want to. I'm terrible. I don't want to like put people out or So I'm not making money. But with like the stencil, with all the stuff I buy, I'm probably losing money, honestly. But damn, it's the love for the game, man.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's fun to do, and it's encouraging / exciting when someone actually does buy a disc. You're like, ooh, someone likes my work. So it's a confidence boost, and you get a little extra income to dump back into the hobby.
Yeah, right. So I took like a hit probably on that disc I sent the other day, and the homeboy came through and paid for it like miraculously. But I was stoked just to send a disc to Sweden. I was like, that's super cool.
Well, that's awesome. The first thing I think of is Swedish death metal.
That's my impression of Swedish death metal. It was pretty good, right?
All right. Shout out session. Are there any dyers
I want to
that you want to give a shout out, or that you got inspiration from?
I think so, probably. There's a lot. Like Brian, I already said, obviously, Pipe Dreamer tutorial kind of kicked off my abilities a little bit, so thank you to him. Bobby from The Difference Is Doing It, TDD Army. I've watched a lot of his stuff, not enough of his stuff. God, there's so much content there. Maybe, Bobby, if you're watching this someday, you'll have me do like a thing. That'd be awesome. I saw that like Emily did one. I know her kind of. Emily is great. Jillian, Happy Tree Dyes. I think like she was one of the first people that did like that like photorealistic banana hand painted on a berg, and I was like, you can do that? Like that's not fair. Stop it. She did like a couple of koi fish that she hand painted. It's ridiculous. Gary Upham, the name of his dye company is escaping me right now, but he does hand painted stuff. It's amazing. Maybe I'll put like a little thing that says his. And there's a ton more. Like I've been doing, as you know, behind the scenes stuff, a lot of like dyer competitions, and have been in a lot of group chats with a lot of people that are just like totally exceptional and super talented. And I don't know, the community at large, really, I just like to say, is a fantastic, like super cool community. Everybody's been like very accepting. Everybody's willing to like trade tips and secrets, and like, this is how you do this. Like, no one's keeping stuff close to their chest. Everyone's like trying to promote each other. It's been very, very cool and uplifting, like a super dope community of people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a great community, and hopefully it stays that way, and I think it will. So yeah. So I've known that you've been on some of these competitions. How was your experience with those?
Wave So Groovy, once again, the first competition that I was in was one that he put on. There were a couple different brackets. I was put into the stencil one. So put a cool stencil on a disc. I think the theme was groovy, which is real vague. So I was like, do whatever I want with this one. And there were some like super talented dyers in that competition, including like Jory Fly Dyes, who is like, I think it's his full-time job dyeing discs. He's got like 10K plus followers. He's like a behemoth in the dye game. He was in there along with a bunch of other really talented dyers. And the way the competition was ran was like, basically, promote yourself, do your own thing, get yourself out there, figure it out, and see who gets the most votes head to head in a bracket style competition. So I won first bracket, first matchup, second matchup, and it turned out to be me against Jory in the finals. I pulled off the win, not necessarily because I did a better job than he did, but because I've got a couple cousins who are like, they're not insta famous, but they got their social media game is on point. All right. And I was like, hey, cousins, like, check this out, vote for me, and tell everyone you know. And I think they like rallied the troops, because I remember being like I was out playing a local course, and I'm in the woods, and my reception is spotty, and I'm trying to like keep tabs on who's winning. And I was up like the night before, and that day I'm out on the disc golf course, and I can't really talk to people. My reception's bad, and I'm watching the stuff go down, and I'm losing, and I'm like, no. And so I sent those text messages out, and at the end of the day, I ended up winning. I won that first competition. And now people keep asking me to do more. And I think like I did but you and Jillian and Jordan and my ginger friend put on a competition for Halloween. I did this disc. I really thought it was cool, man. I like the nostalgia of it as my Slappy from Goosebumps disc that I made. And I got torn up. Like, I think I came in second or third to last after surprise guest Jordan, who was part of running it, that's never dyed a disc before, sharpied some stuff on a disc. So I got eaten alive in that competition. There was not like the whole element of like my cousins couldn't save me. But I actually enjoyed that competition more. Just because I wasn't working so hard to like generate the votes, and I'm still doing competitions. I'm in one I'm going to be doing one for Christmas. Actually, I'm going to be doing two for Christmas because somebody dropped out of another one. I was asked to be in that one as well. So I'm going to be doing two for Christmas, and it's the same thing, man. I know I'm not like a juggernaut compared to some of these other guys. The thing that I really like about it is the community and just being a part of it, and like being in the chats and like getting to know people, and just shooting the shit and joking around and having fun. That's more fun to me than winning the competition. So
those group chats are entertaining in multiple ways.
That's true. I got to stop sending pictures of my body though. I get in trouble.
All right. That's giving too much detail, and that's for us to know. Nobody else.
And you to find out.
Yes. So doing that judging video for that Halloween, that was fun because honestly, I had no idea who was who. So you didn't have any bias on that?
Yeah. And you guys were just able to be mean without having to worry about it coming back at you. Mean.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was just Bill. That was mean, really.
He hurt my feelings. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, those competitions, definitely a good experience. So, all right, moving on. So now we're going to get to know you a little bit more on a personal level.
Oh, yeah, the fun part. This is what I've been waiting for.
Please don't send any pics of your body without clothes.
Don't tell me not to do stuff, because I'll do it out of spite.
All right, so your favorite fave. What is or who is your favorite band and or favorite song?
I have a really hard time answering this question because I'm just shifting through what I'm listening to at the time constantly. Right now I'm listening to a lot of Blink-182 for whatever reason. They just came back, Tom's back, whatever. So there's been a lot of that, but I think if I had to go all-time favorite, I'm a hip hop guy kind of at heart, but I like a little bit more eclectic, a little bit hip hop, not way off the grid, but not quite so mainstream. So Aesop Rock, not ASAP Rocky, but Aesop Rock, Aesop's Fables, is my favorite lyricist and rapper, and I think he's incredible. I like Sublime a lot. That used to be my go-to band for a while. A band called I Am the Avalanche, which is kind of a New York hardcore kind of band, is really sweet. I don't know, man. That's a tough question, and it's always evolving. But that's a glimpse into some of my musical tastes.
Yeah, no. If someone asked me that, I really couldn't give an answer, because that is.
I like musicals as well.
That's fascinating.
They have great soundtracks most of the time. Sometimes I listen to the Les Mis soundtrack on the way to work.
Hey, man,
end of the day.
That's perfectly fine. Do you play any instruments?
No, I mean, like a drum on a table. I played the saxophone when I was in fourth grade for a little while, but they want you to practice. That wasn't for me.
Fun fact, I used to play the saxophone as well in middle school. The reason I wanted to play the saxophone because Lisa from The Simpsons played the saxophone.
Okay, I jive with that. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. You could be you're like a new age Bleeding Gums a little bit, maybe. I love The Simpsons. That I was brought up on The Simpsons. I am the person that I am because of The Simpsons and Mad Magazine. So I feel that big time.
Simpsons did it.
Yeah, that's right.
What is your favorite food?
Just give you a second to shout out my cat Mochi. She got locked in the basement with me. I didn't know she was down here, so I'll give her a second for that. Chicken wings. I've got one tattooed on my left butt cheek. They're my favorite food. I'll send you pictures of my body later. See, I knew we were gonna get there. It was done. Remember, when you first started asking me questions about my friends, I mentioned my friend Aaron, who won't disc golf. It was his bachelor party, and his idea while we were out was for everyone to go get tattoos on their butt cheek. You got to choose which side, and he wanted everyone to get the two cherries hanging off a stem for some reason. I don't know. He thinks it was funny. It's not funny. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that. But I love chicken wings and I'll do that. So I've got a chicken wing on my butt cheek. He's got a top hat and a monocle. He's a classy chicken wing. One of my other buddies another buddy was like, well, I don't know what to get. And so I floated him an idea, and he's got a severed chicken head with two crossed drumsticks, like the Jolly Roger flag. That one's even better than mine, and I'm sad that I gave him that idea, but I had to have the chicken wing,
Well, that's something I wouldn't do on a whim, but that's still pretty cool. Do you have any favorite sauces?
Yeah, I'm a mango habanero guy. I think that's really top notch. Buffalo garlic parm, a little bit of a mix there between the two. That's a good wing. Upstate New York, we got something called Country Sweet, and I think Boss Sauce as well might be a regional thing. I'm not positive, but that's kind of a sweet and sour, a little spicy kind of thing, which is fantastic. But I don't really discriminate when it comes to chicken wings. Hit me.
I was gonna say, where is your favorite place to get chicken wings or buy them?
Cool. I'll segue right into what I was going to say. I have a buddy. I'm going to shout out some of my buddies. Forget all these other people. My friend Owen from around here puts on a event pandemic kind of slowed it down for a while. I think it might be starting up again, but it's called the Cluck Crawl. And you get a bunch of guys and gals in the city get on these school buses that he rents out, and they drive you around to bars, and the bars are all trying to win competition of best wing and hottest wing. And it's the best time in the world. You go around, you're drinking at the bars, you're getting on the bus, you're going from place to place, you're eating chicken wings. People are getting spiced out because they really go like crazy to win hottest wing. I have a picture online, I'll show it to you sometime, of me after getting some of the hot sauce from one of the places that had hottest wing in my eye. And on the cards that they give you, you write like, you vote who's got the best wing, who's got the hottest wing. And I've got this picture superimposed as the card. Somebody wrote, I don't eat spicy foods, but the wing at the Angry Goat was the name of the bar, almost killed a guy on my bus. And underneath that is a picture of me standing outside by the bus with a bottle of saline solution, just spraying into my face to try to get the sauce out of my eye. So yeah, that's a labor of love right there. Chicken wing is a food that will take you out.
Fantastic. What is your favorite beverage?
Sparkle water. Like just like a sparkling, like a flavored seltzer. That's what I drink all the time. Otherwise, like hit me with an IPA. I'm cool with that. But mostly just sparkly water.
So you like basically bubbly, watered down leftover soda.
Yeah, it's like it tastes like TV static. I like it. My favorite one is Bubbly's pineapple coconut. That's a great flavor. I suggest you try it. It tastes like TV static.
My wife loves the sparkling water, and every time I was like, let me try a taste. I'm like,
yeah, it does. It's certainly an acquired taste. It's weird when I realize that people don't like it, because I'm like, oh, you want one of these? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. What is that? Is it soda? I'm like, no, not exactly.
Oh, yeah, disgusting stuff. Anyways,
yeah.
Do you have any other hobbies besides disc golf and or disc dyeing?
I like to play video games. I like to. I'm trying to grind through Elden Ring right now. I'm not great at it. I play Rocket League way too much. I'm a huge Rocket League fan. I think it's the best game ever. I play with one buddy most of the time because nobody else likes Rocket League apparently. And it's just that's my like inside getaway. I can throw on a headset and just laugh with him playing Rocket League for hours. Other than that, like I don't really have any like hobbies. Like this is the thing I'm gonna go do, but I'm down to do just about anything. I like doing stuff. I like new experiences. So. Yeah, fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy, as we've figured out this evening.
What do you do for a day job?
So I am, my title is Crisis Intervener. I work in an alternative high school, and I guess it's like a mix between counseling and security. So I spend my days like, there's 100 students. They're all, mostly or all of them have some form of trauma history. So they're great kids and I love them to death, but they can be problem. There's behaviors, so I deal with the behaviors, and I go to calls and I talk kids off ledges, and I help out when I can, and if need be, break up fights, do restraints, train my staff how to do restraints, play kickball. I don't know if you can see it. I was playing kickball. I sent this in a group chat the other day. I was playing kickball in the gym. It's a volleyball unit, small gym. The place used to be a meatpacking plant. Small gym. They took the volleyball net down, but it was still hanging from one of the poles, which just happens to be like in the middle of a base in kickball. And as I'm running by at a full sprint, my arm somehow got into the volleyball net and it spun me around, pulled my arm. I've got a weird bruise all the way up my arm that's like volleyball net shaped, I guess. So that's what I do. I love it's the best job in the world. I get to like hang out with teenagers, and like I feel like it gives me carte blanche to say stuff like lit and hella whenever I want. I'm always up on the new lingo. It's dope.
That's awesome that you do that. No, it's really awesome. What got you into that, or why do you why do you do that?
I've been with this organization for like 16 or 17 years now. When I first started, there was I don't know if the penny saver is a national thing or if that's just like a New York thing. It's like it comes in the mail. It's junk mail, but it's got like job ads in the back sometimes. And my mom saw one when I was like 20 something years old. And she goes, "Hey, there's like this opening at the school to be a paraeducator. Maybe you should check it out." And I was like, "Oh, whatever, I'll check it out." And I went there, and the school was going through some issues at the time. The head administrator had been caught like laundering funds or something ridiculous, and was kicked out and maybe jailed. So there was like an interim principal there that interviewed me. The whole time, all he talked about was like his stint in AAA baseball. I was hired on the spot. Like less than a month into, I'm 22. I'm a less restrained version of the person that I am now, which is dangerous. I'm working in a school with kids that are like they also age out at 21 in this program for various reasons. It takes them a while to get through the program. So in instances, I'm like the same age as some of my students at this point, and less than a month in, I find myself teaching a history class because the teacher was in like Desert Storm and had PTSD and a stutter that he couldn't shake and was out, and I was the para, and they were like, "Yeah, I teach the class." So I cut my teeth early and just kind of worked through. I actually went to school to become an English teacher at one point, like went all the way through, graduated school, did my student teaching in like 2 different places, came back and saw all the miserable teachers and went, "I don't want to do this." And at that point, I'd been with them for a while. The crisis intervener position became available, and I interviewed for it with the principal that I knew really well at the time. After it was my first time ever having a real job interview. Now I'm like in my 30s, something like that. I've been with them forever. But the last job interview I had, the guy just talked about AAA baseball. That was like my first real job interview. So after I interviewed for this position, the principal comes to me and he goes, "Yo, your interview," and this is a quote, "sucked out loud." And I go, "Okay," so, and he goes, "You can re-interview," and he gave me these tips and like pointers and what to do, and I like just kind of followed the rubric and came back and re-interviewed and got the job. And I've been doing this for 7 years or something like that now.
That's awesome. Keep up the great work, and yeah.
I feel like we're learning a lot about me right now, like almost too much. This is getting deep.
Well, this is what it is.
Does it always happen like this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't.
We're gonna get to your deepest, darkest secrets that you have. Which I honestly don't know if I want to open that pan.
No, I wouldn't. Like, I've never told anyone. Let's do it. Let's go there.
All right. Next segment. So, if you had to play around with 3 discs for the rest of your life on any course, what would they be?
Okay, so I did think about this briefly. I also think it's an impossible question to answer for a disc golfer of my caliber because I'm not good enough to. But here it goes. A Get Freaky Zone, in particular the green one that I have in my bag right now because I'm partial to it. It's the only disc I feel like I can actually throw on a forehand. My forehand game, not hot. But the zone I can throw on a forehand for like a left to right approach shots. And, in a pinch I can putt with it. I'm not going to be any worse than I am putting with a less stable putter because I can't putt either. So Get Freaky Zone. Then an Axiom Hex. That's like my go-to mid. It's replaced, and I went back and forth. Do I need something more understable? Do I go with the Meteor that I can throw? But I'll just throw the zone for that shot on a forehand. So Axiom Hex, because I can put a little ante on it. It's going to fight back a little bit. I can run a couple lines with that. And for my driving slot, I mold this over a little bit, and I think I'm going to go with the Axiom again. The Insanity is a disc that I really like because I can throw it straight and get it to turn. I can put it on a hyzer line and have it flip up flat and glide for a while, when I throw it right. Not every time. But on a perfect throw, I can make things happen. So the zone, the hex, the insanity. That's my trio.
I like you because 2 of your 3 are Axiom discs. And
are you an Axiom guy?
Earlier this year, I switched out my bag to MVP/Axiom. Why? Because buying new discs would make me better.
Understood. Yeah, I get that.
It didn't, but it did in a way. I've recently started using fission plastics, so the lighter weight discs, which has been helping tremendously to get the actual flight numbers with my noodle arm.
My pride is too big to allow me to buy lighter weight discs. Like a maximum.
I need the heaviest weight.
I know.
Lee Perfect Hole. Do you have a favorite disc golf course and/or hole that you've played?
Hole 12 at Ellison Park, which I mentioned earlier, is like a really big downhill. It's probably the biggest elevation change in like my area. I think it's like a 500 something, maybe it's like 6 downhill. It's just from where you are standing up top, it's almost as far down as it is out, it feels like. And so that's just fun because you're standing on top of the world and throwing a disc that in most cases gets caught in the wind and turns and never comes back, and your second shot is just as long as your first, in my experience anyway. But other than that, I was able to one time a year ago go out with 4 guys and hit up Maple Hill and some courses along the way and just hole one at Maple Hill, just being there and experiencing like a real top-notch disc golf course for the first time. That stuck with me. That's super cool. That's a good place to go. It's fun.
Do you have any other courses on your bucket list?
I'm not like informed enough to know of like the real good ones. We played Joralemon 501, 508, something like that, out that way, which was really good. Pyramids and Maple Hill. So those were all like extraordinary courses. I've been talking to a guy in Vermont that has graciously, I just know him from selling him a disc, but he graciously offered me a place to stay if I ever wanted to come to Vermont and throw discs out there. And I've been to Vermont once to ski when my buddy was going to college in the area, and that's just a super cool place. So if I had the chance, I'd like to go out that way. I know Pennsylvania's got some places that are really nice. That's not too far from me. I would love to play like any place, Colorado or like Midwest, where like the topography is just different than it is here. I've never done that. I played in Florida once. It's like the most different-y kind of disc golf I've ever played, but it wasn't a great course.
I would find it extremely fun to go around the country and playing different courses.
Someday. Me and you.
Yes. Together forever.
Best friends.
Dream date. If you had to pick one pro disc golf player to play around with and hang out with, who would that be?
Yeah, so I thought a little bit about this one too, and my answer is it would be Kona Panis, for these reasons. A, if she had a real bad day and I had a real good day, I think there's a chance I might be able to catch her. Probably not, but like if the odds were just in my favor that day and the gods were smiling upon me, maybe. Not a whole lot of pros I'd ever have. Not that sounds bad. She's got a good game, but like, you know, she's not top of the line, and she falters occasionally. And other than that, like if she does beat me, like I got no issues with that. She's super cool. She's rad. She's really good at the game, and yeah, she's pretty cute. And I like her Instagram stories. She seems really fun. So
nice.
Did anybody else say that one yet?
No.
Perfect.
I would actually have to remind myself of who she actually is.
Oh, all right. She's got like discs and stuff, man.
Well, what team is she on?
Green.
Great. Okay, fantastic.
Oh, no, man.
Moving on.
I wouldn't know the answer to any of if you asked me who anybody was on, I wouldn't be able to tell you, except for like Macbeth or like.
I feel like she's
on. Heimberg's had a destroyer. I wanted to say, does she have like trying to think of what her like her signature discs are, and it's got flowers on it. I can see it in my head, and I just can't figure out it's not. It doesn't have an overmold.
Okay, well, I've come to the conclusion that your memory is not great.
It's
but
not.
Your discs are awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. I forgot we were talking about those.
All right, so where can people find your amazing work?
Yeah, so people can find my like stellar work at the Protagonist Dyes on Instagram. The _protagonist _dyes. I hashtag myself in all my things, so hopefully if you just like type it in, I do it without the underscores too because I'm smart. And if you type, but without spaces, maybe no, you can't put spaces in a hashtag. At the Protagonist Dyes, go there, and then groovydiscs.com. Please check it out. I'm not the only disc artist on groovydiscs.com. There's some like really, really amazing work. So even if you're not looking at my stuff, please go check out the artists there. Like really, really good stuff. And other than that, like you'll see me posting on Facebook occasionally, but I'm not like necessarily pushing my brand or anything there. I'm just putting out discs that I think are neat for people to look at.
Awesome.
My phone number at home is
555. So if you want to support this starving artist to make sure he keeps dyeing discs, we're actually going to be raffling off one of his amazing discs. So besides getting this one-of-a-kind, amazing artwork, you're also going to be helping support him, and 100% of the proceeds will go to him. So when this podcast gets released, that is when the raffle will go live, and it will be live for 2 weeks. So you could win one of his discs for $1, which is chump change. If you don't do it, I don't know why you wouldn't. So
I have $1 even.
Yeah, I mean, buy one ticket, buy many. So take a look at that. The disc will be determined and it will be released when it's released. So again, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. It was a pleasure to meet and talk to you in person, and I hope it was likewise. So
yeah, it's been great, man. Thank you so much for having me. If you do decide to spend one of your hard-earned dollars to try to win a disc of mine, every disc comes with like a piece of myself. I kiss it on the back. It comes with a little sticker. It's got my logo on it, which is a skull, which is super. That's awesome and rad. And I'll love you forever, and I'll come to your wedding. So buy it.
Those are some very big claims. So buy one of his discs.
Find out. Fuck around, find out.
Yes. All right. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, man. Thank you so much.